The shiny black pickup truck sparkled like it was fresh off the showroom floor, parked in my parents' driveway in suburban Denver. I clutched the steering wheel of my beat-up Toyota Corolla, my knuckles turning pale as Jacob, my younger brother, strutted around his new ride, grinning like he'd just hit the jackpot. Maybe he had, with my money. My name's Hannah Carter, and I was staring at the moment my dream of owning a home slipped away. Isn't she a beauty? Jacob ran his hand along the truck's hood, his voice dripping with pride. Got it for a steal. $40,000, can you believe it? The dealer practically begged me to take it. I stepped out of my car, still in my work clothes from a long day at the accounting firm, my phone buzzing with yet another bank alert I'd been dodging for the past hour. I prayed it was a glitch, but deep down, I knew better. "Jacob," I said, my voice calmer than my racing heart, "where'd you get the money for this?" He tossed his shaggy hair, a mirror of Dad's old style, and laughed. "Chill, Hannah. Mom and Dad helped me sort it out. Right, guys?" Our parents stood on the porch holding iced teas, their smiles tight. Mom gave me that look, the one that screamed, "Don't make a scene." "Your brother needed a reliable vehicle, sweetie," she said, stepping closer. "We just dipped into that family emergency fund you set up." My stomach dropped like I'd been punched. That wasn't an emergency fund. That was my down payment for a condo. $45,000 I'd scrimped and saved for since college. The world spun a little, and I gripped my car door to stay steady. "Emergency fund?" I forced the words out. "That was my savings, my house money." Jacob rolled his eyes, leaning against his truck. "Don't be so dramatic, Hannah. You're like a money wizard. You'll save it again in no time. Besides, you always say family comes first." I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and opened my banking app. The balance stared back at me. $200.43. "You drained my account," I said, holding up the screen. "You left me with $200, Jacob, without even asking me." Dad cleared his throat, adjusting his glasses. "Now, Hannah, your brother's got some big art gigs coming up. He needs to look professional, show up in style." "Art gigs?" My laugh came out sharp, bitter. "Like the ones he bailed on last month? Or the online shop he started with my credit card and never paid back?" Jacob's face twisted, and he stepped toward me. "Why do you always have to be so mean? I'm trying to make something of myself." Mom rushed to his side, her eyes welling up. "Hannah, please. You know Jacob's been struggling. We just want to support him. You've always been the steady one." The steady one. The one who paid their overdue electric bill when I was 19. The one who covered Jacob's community college tuition when he dropped out after a semester. The one they leaned on like a crutch. "You're right," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "I am the steady one." Mom's face softened, thinking she'd won. "I knew you'd understand." But I wasn't done. I scrolled to my bank's contact number. "I'm also the one whose name is on that account, and I'm done letting you use me." Jacob's smirk faded. "What's that supposed to mean?" I met his eyes, my thumb hovering over the call button. "It means you just bought yourself a $40,000 lesson, little brother." I sat in my Corolla, the engine still ticking from the drive, staring at my phone as Mom's name flashed across the screen for the third time in 10 minutes. My parents' driveway was behind me now, Jacob's shiny new truck still gleaming under the streetlights. I didn't answer. Instead, I dialed my bank, my hands steadier than I expected. "Yes, hi, this is Hannah Carter," I said when the agent picked up. "I need to close my savings account number 392481 effective immediately. Yes, I know it's linked to other accounts. That's the point." The agent hesitated, warning me about the consequences. Frozen credit lines, canceled cards. But I cut her off. "Do it now." By the time I hung up, my heart was pounding, but for the first time in years, I felt like I was taking control. Back at my apartment, I barely slept. The next morning, my phone exploded with texts. "Jacob, you're seriously screwing us over, Hannah. How am I supposed to get to my gigs now?" "Mom, sweetie, please call. We're family. We can fix this." Dad, in his usual vague way, "This isn't how we raised you." I tossed the phone on my couch, ignoring the guilt clawing at me. They weren't sorry. They were mad I'd pulled the plug. By noon, Jacob showed up at my door, banging loud enough to annoy my neighbors. "Open up, Hannah," he yelled. "You can't just tank our lives like this." I cracked the door, keeping the chain on. "Your life? You mean the one you've been funding with my money?" He looked like he hadn't slept either, his eyes red and hair a mess. "You're so selfish," he spat. Mom stutted. "I needed that truck to make something of myself, and you're ruining everything." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Ruining everything? You stole 40 grand from me, Jacob. You and Mom and Dad cleaned me out without even a heads up." His face crumpled, and right on cue, the waterworks started. "You don't get it," he sobbed. "I'm trying to build a career. Mom and Dad said you'd be cool with it. They said you'd want to help." That hit like a slap. They'd known exactly what they were doing, and they dragged me into their mess again. "Help?" I snapped. "I've been helping since I was 16, paying your phone bill, covering Dad's car repairs. I'm done." Jacob's tears didn't faze me this time. I'd seen this act before. "You can't do this to us," he pleaded. "Mom's freaking out. Dad's credit cards aren't working. We've got bills due." I stepped closer, my voice low. "Then maybe you should have thought about that before you treated my savings like your personal piggy bank." I shut the door, his shouts echoing in the hallway. My phone buzzed again. "Mom begging me to come over and talk. We're family, Hannah. We need you." I deleted the message. They didn't need me. They needed my money, and I was done being their ATM. My apartment felt too small as I paced the living room, my laptop open on the coffee table, bank statements glaring back at me. It had been 2 days since I closed my savings account, and the fallout was worse than I'd imagined. Jacob's texts had turned nasty. Mom's voicemails were a mix of tears and guilt trips, and Dad, well, he just sent one-word messages. Disappointed. I was done letting their words twist my gut. Ethan, my coworker, sat on my couch, scrolling through my financial records like a detective. "Hannah, you need to see this," he said, his voice calm but serious. I stopped pacing and leaned over his shoulder. He pointed to a string of transactions, small withdrawals, $50 here, $200 there, stretching back 5 years. "These aren't one-offs," he said. "Your family's been siphoning money from you for years." I sank onto the couch, my head spinning. "How much?" I whispered. Ethan hesitated, then turned the laptop toward me. "Rough estimate? About $250,000. Most of it's from that joint account you opened with your mom in college." My throat tightened. I'd forgotten about that account. Mom had begged me to keep it open for emergencies. Now I saw the truth. Their emergencies were Jacob's failed art projects and Dad's early retirement dreams. Ethan clicked through more records, showing transfers to Jacob's PayPal, payments for Mom's credit cards, even a loan for Dad's fishing boat I'd never known about. "There's more," he said, pulling up a document. "Your signatures on a car loan for Jacob's truck. Did you sign anything?" I shook my head, my voice barely audible. "Never." "That's fraud," Ethan said, his jaw tight. "And it's not just the truck." My phone buzzed. Rachel, my best friend and realtor, texting me to meet her at a coffee shop. "Bring your laptop," she wrote. I found something. An hour later, we sat in a corner booth, Rachel sliding a folder across the table. "I was checking property records for your condo search," she said, "and your parents' house popped up. They refinanced last year, and guess whose name is listed as guarantor?" She flipped open the folder, revealing my signature on a mortgage document I'd never seen. "They forged it," she said, her eyes flashing. "You're on the hook for their $200,000 loan." I stared at the paper, my hands shaking. "They used me as collateral for their house? After everything?" Rachel nodded, sipping her latte. "And that's not all. I called a friend at the bank. Your name's tied to 3 other loans, credit lines, a home equity loan, even a personal loan for Jacob's business. They've been using you like a credit card." Ethan, who'd joined us, tapped his laptop. "I found the same thing. They've been routing money through that joint account to hide it. Small enough amounts that you wouldn't notice unless you dug deep." I thought back to all the times Mom had said, "You're so good with money, Hannah. We just need a little help." It didn't help. It was theft. The coffee shop buzzed around us, but I felt like I was underwater. $250,000, I said, the number sinking in. "That's my future. My condo, my savings, everything I worked for. Rachel reached across the table, squeezing my hand. You're not losing your future, you're taking it back. Ethan nodded, pulling up another file. We've got proof. Bank records, forged signatures, loan documents. This is enough to nail them for fraud and identity theft. My phone lit up with another text from Jacob. You're killing Mom with stress. Happy now? I showed it to Rachel and Ethan. They're still trying to play me, I said, my voice hard. Rachel smirked. Let them try. You've got us, and you've got the truth. I looked at the documents, the evidence of years of betrayal stacked in front of me. Then let's use it, I said. I'm done being their safety net. The fluorescent lights in the Denver police station buzzed overhead as I sat across from Detective Lisa Morgan, a no-nonsense woman with a notepad full of my family's sins. My hands were steady now, clutching a folder stuffed with bank records, forged loan documents, and screenshots of Jacob's venomous texts. It had been a week since I learned my parents and brother had stolen $250,000 from me, using my name like a blank check. Ethan had helped me organize the evidence, and Rachel had pushed me to stop hesitating. You're not betraying them, she'd said. They betrayed you. So here I was, laying it all bare. This is serious, Miss Carter, Detective Morgan said, flipping through the folder. Forged signatures, identity theft, fraud across multiple accounts. You're sure you want to press charges? I nodded, my voice firm. They've been using me for years. I'm done. My phone vibrated on the table. Another text from Jacob. You're tearing this family apart. Mom's crying herself sick. I slid the phone toward the detective. This is what they do. They steal, then guilt me into feeling like the bad guy. She scanned the message, her expression hardening. Classic manipulation. I see it all the time. Before I could respond, my phone lit up again, this time with a social media notification. Jacob had posted a public rant. My sister's trying to ruin us because she's jealous of my art career. Don't let her lies destroy our family. He'd even linked a crowdfunding page for legal fees. I showed it to Detective Morgan, my stomach churning. He's lying to everyone, I said. There's no art career, just my money. She made a note. This strengthens your case. Public fraud like this shows intent. I exhaled, feeling the weight of years of enabling me to start to lift. But it wasn't over. That night, Mom called, her voice shaky through the speaker. Hannah, please. The bank's threatening to foreclose on our house. You can't let this happen to us. I gripped my kitchen counter, Rachel and Ethan watching me from the couch. You did this, Mom, I said. You forged my name on your mortgage, on Jacob's truck, on everything. You don't get to beg now. She sobbed, but I'd heard it before. We're family, she pleaded. You're supposed to help us. I hung up, my hands trembling, but my resolve was solid. The next day, I got a call from my Aunt Karen, Mom's sister. Hannah, how could you do this to your parents? They're devastated. I cut her off. Did you know they used my name to borrow $200,000? Or that they've been draining my accounts since I was 20? She went quiet, then hung up. By evening, Jacob's crowdfunding page was down, flagged for fraud after Ethan sent screenshots to the platform. But he didn't stop. He texted again. You'll regret this when Dad has a heart attack. I showed it to Rachel, who snorted. He's desperate. Keep those texts for the police. I did, forwarding everything to Detective Morgan. At the station the next morning, she updated me. We've got enough for arrest warrants. Your parents and brother will be brought in by tomorrow. My chest tightened. They'd face real consequences. Jail, fines, maybe worse. Part of me ached, remembering Jacob's goofy kid's smile, Mom's hugs. But then I thought of the $250,000, the forged signatures, the lies. Good, I said, standing up. Let them answer it. As I walked out, my phone stayed silent for the first time in days. I wasn't their safety net anymore. I was their reckoning. The news hit like a cold wind. My parents and Jacob were arrested that morning. I was at my desk, crunching numbers for a client, when Rachel texted me a link to a local Denver news site. Carter family charged in identity theft scheme, the headline screamed. My stomach twisted, but I didn't click. I didn't need to see their mugshots to know what I'd done was right. Detective Morgan called soon after. They're in custody, she said. Your parents are trying to negotiate a plea, but Jacob's fighting it. They want you to write a letter asking for leniency. I laughed, short and bitter. No chance. They don't get a free pass after stealing my life savings. She didn't push, just asked me to prepare a victim impact statement for the court. I agreed, already mentally drafting the truth they'd tried to bury. My phone kept buzzing, texts from cousins, voicemails from Mom's friends, all begging me to fix this. Jacob upped the ante, sneaking a post from a burner account. Hannah's lying to destroy us. Save our family, share our story. It got a few likes before Rachel reported it for harassment. They're pathetic, she said over coffee that night, scrolling through the comments, trying to play victims while their house goes into foreclosure. I nodded, sipping my latte. The bank had seized my parents' home after they defaulted on the mortgage, the one they'd forged my name on. Part of me wanted to feel bad, but the $250,000 they'd stolen loomed larger than their tears. Mom tried calling from the jail, her voice thin and desperate. "Hannah, we're losing everything. Please tell the judge it was a mistake." I cut her off. "A mistake? You forged my signature on loans for years. You let Jacob drain my savings for a truck. That's not a mistake. That's a crime." She cried, but I hung up, my hands steady. Ethan, working late with me on a fraud case, glanced over. "You okay?" I shrugged. "They're still trying to pull me back in, but I'm not budging." He nodded, proud but quiet, and handed me a printout of more forged documents he'd found, credit card applications in my name, all tied to Jacob. By the next day, the harassment escalated. My Aunt Karen showed up at my office, pleading in the lobby. "Your mom's sick with worry, Hannah. You're breaking her heart." I met her eyes, calm but firm. "She broke mine when she used me as a bank. You want to help? Tell them to stop lying." She left, flustered, and I blocked her number. The court date was set, and I knew they'd face real time. Years, not months. It hurt, but not as much as their betrayal. I wasn't their daughter anymore, not in the way they wanted. I was Hannah Carter, the woman who'd fought back. And as their world crumbled, I started building mine, one truth at a time. The keys to my new condo jingled in my hand as I stepped through the door, the Denver skyline sparkling through the floor-to-ceiling windows. It was mine, really mine, bought with the savings I'd rebuilt after cutting my family off. Rachel had found the place, a cozy 2-bedroom with hardwood floors and a balcony perfect for morning coffee. I was still unpacking when Ethan knocked, carrying a pizza box and a grin. "Housewarming dinner," he said, setting it on the counter. Rachel followed, popping a bottle of sparkling cider. "To Hannah," she toasted, raising her glass, "who took her life back." I smiled, the weight of the past few months lifting as we laughed and ate. But my phone buzzed, cutting through the moment. Mom's name flashed on the screen, a call from the county jail. I hesitated, then answered, putting it on speaker. "Hannah," she said, her voice frail, "we're getting out in a few years, but we'll have nowhere to go. Jacob's in prison and the house is gone. Please, we need you." Rachel rolled her eyes, but I kept my voice steady. "You needed my money, Mom, not me. You forged my name, stole $250,000, and let Jacob treat me like an ATM. I'm done." She started crying, the same sobs I'd fallen for my whole life. "You're our daughter," she pleaded. "Doesn't that mean anything?" I looked around my condo at the life I was building without their lies. "It means I deserved better," I said. "Goodbye, Mom." I hung up, blocking the number for good. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "You okay?" I nodded, feeling lighter than ever. Better than okay. I'm free. The next day, I got an email from my boss, Karen, at the accounting firm. "The partners were impressed with how you handled your family's fraud," she wrote. "We're promoting you to audit manager, effective next week." I stared at the screen, a grin spreading across my face. Rachel, who'd crashed on my couch, whooped when I told her. "That's my girl. New job, new place. Look at you go." She pulled out her tablet, already planning a housewarming party. "We're doing this right," she said. "String lights, catered tacos, the works." That night, we hosted the party. My condo buzzed with coworkers, neighbors, and friends who'd stood by me. Ethan manned the playlist, Rachel played host, and I felt something I hadn't in years. Pride. I'd fought for this. Every dollar, every boundary, every step away from my family's grip. My phone stayed quiet. No texts or guilt trips for the first time in months. But as the party wound down, Rachel handed me a letter from the court. My parents had been sentenced to 4 years, Jacob to 2, with restitution ordered. They'd never pay it back, not with their house gone and Jacob's art career in ruins. It didn't matter. I didn't need their money, I needed my peace. I stepped onto the balcony, the cool Denver air brushing my face. Below, the city lights twinkled, each one a reminder of what I'd built. I wasn't the steady one anymore, the daughter who fixed everyone's messes. I was Hannah Carter, audit manager, homeowner, survivor. Rachel joined me, leaning on the railing. "Proud of you," she said softly. I smiled, my heart full. I'm proud of myself, too. For the first time, I wasn't looking back at their chaos. I was looking forward to a life I'd earned, one choice at a time. The conference room at the Denver Financial Security Summit was packed, rows of faces staring up at me as I stood at the podium, my notes trembling slightly in my hands. It had been a month since I moved into my condo, and now I was here, sharing my story to help others spot family financial abuse. My parents and brother stole $250,000 from me, I began, my voice steady despite the nerves. They forged my name on loans, drained my savings, and called it family helping family. I believed them for years, until I didn't. The room was silent, some people nodding, others scribbling notes. I talked about the red flags, small withdrawals, vague excuses, guilt trips. I ended with what I'd learned. Setting boundaries isn't betrayal, it's survival. Afterward, a woman approached me, her eyes teary. "Your story's mine," she said. "My sister's been using my credit cards. I didn't know how to stop her." I handed her Detective Morgan's card, feeling a spark of purpose. Back at my condo that night, I found an email from the summit organizers. "Your talk was a hit," they wrote. "We'd love you to be our keynote speaker next year." I grinned, forwarding it to Rachel and Ethan. Rachel texted back, "Told you you're a rock star," Ethan called, joking. "Better practice your autograph." I sat on my balcony, the Denver skyline glowing against the night. My phone was quiet, no texts from Mom, Jacob, or their flying monkeys. They were in prison now, their house sold at auction, their lies exposed. I'd rebuilt my life, not just with money, but with truth. I wasn't the girl who'd paid their bills or cleaned up their messes anymore. I was Hannah Carter, keynote speaker, audit manager, homeowner. My story wasn't about revenge. It was about freedom. I leaned back, the stars above clearer than ever. Rachel's housewarming party was tomorrow, and I was ready to celebrate, not just a home, but a heart finally free. They say family is everything, but I'd learned family is what you choose. Friends like Rachel and Ethan, a career that valued me, a life I wrote myself. I closed my eyes, the city humming below. This was my beginning, and I was just getting started. Those lessons carried me from a police station to a keynote stage, from a drained bank account to a home I love. You can rebuild, too, whether it's your finances, your heart, or your future. Take that first step. Check your accounts, question the guilt trips, choose yourself. My story's proof that freedom starts when you stop enabling and start living. Want more stories like mine? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that button, and join us for real talk and real change. Don't miss out on the next one.